Oh, hello again. Welcome back to Pete's Model Car Customs. This is something I was trying to show a reasonable close-up of the parts I've been making to fit mainly on the uh, twin-turbo Cobra, but on anything. And I've included sort of like carburetors, brake master cylinders, the radiator and that, just to show the extra detail in them. A minute ago this was all in, maybe I'll do it, come back slightly further. That's no good, is it? I'll rotate them all. So I thought I'd paint them back. If you watched yesterday's video, I did try to show some of this sort of stuff, but I hadn't painted a lot of it, so it wasn't really visible. Bits were matte black, and you know, got limited just shadow to see. So I thought I'd quickly paint the stuff up with the radiator. I'm going to be able to. That's the basically completed radiator. I've got a bit more wiring to go onto it across there and link up to there, but that'll happen when all this radiator is fitted in. I've got one outlet this side blanked off. Need a pointer. Blanked off, and then the other side I'm going to use as feed to the radiator. Up here and hidden because there'll be an expansion tank off of this, so I've got nothing up here for feed yet, but it'll come out and be fittings to go to an expansion tank and then to the engine. The sort of nut there and there are all pieces of sprue. They aren't actual nuts, you know. I've trimmed them down from Airfix sprue again, which I highly recommend. The 172nd Churchill by Airfix. It's about the best donor for pulleys and sprue going. Along the side here I've got will that focus separately? Maybe panning round to do that. These are a couple of master cylinders I've made up. Like I say, they're from all scrap. It's a plastic stretch sprue. Was that a third one down there? Oh, that's a carburetor. On the other side I've got one that I'm in the process of making. So that is unpainted, and I've tried to do it in a variety of sprues to try and give an idea of what I add to just pieces of sprue. Like the main piece I'm holding will be the main part of the vacuum pressure tank. Then you've got the nose of it. There's sort of white bits floating around. The green bit is sort of shaped, and that is Airfix sprue. Then there's a little, that black cap is from where you cut a part off the tree. Just cut the little end off where you've cut it from. That mark along the top is made by my side cutters. And then I've sliced off the end and glued it to another little disc of, I mean, I slice round sprue up, just take the mould line off, you know, from the edge here, bring it back down to a clean around and take a fine slice off of it. Onto the carburetors here. These are both for the other Cobra on a high-rise manifold. What's that there? Oh, that's another single one. Another single master cylinder. Can I get that down into the screen? Oh, you know, just again, little nubs of sprue. That one was just one where there's a nice little intersection of feed, so I cut that, added a couple of slices, and a couple of bits of stretched air-fix sprue to make the nuts onto the flange. And the carburetors here, I've got, if I can nudge that round, I drilled out what was the air filter in the top of the carburetors, which is a chromy thing, but it had an horrible blister in the middle of it. So I've took that out, oh, it's in the other box. You know, drilled that down through the centre and added a piece of foam, which is, I wonder if I can get that round. This foam here, right, I cut out a couple of discs, like the two that are spare, right down there, then put them under some circles that I've cut from this mesh, which is a piece of net curtain that I painted with a mixture of PVA and acrylic paint, and it sort of stiffens it. Right, soak it in, wring it out. I honestly made a plate of paint and laid a piece of this net into it so it absorbed it, then pulled it out and wrung it out and stretched it so as it, or you know, pressed it flat so as it remained flat but coloured and stiff. And paintable, which is bonus because I can then, in the case of like the oil filter here, there's a piece of it on the front. That's the same mesh, and I've put on a couple of fittings there from stretching the air-fix sprue. So that's the oil cooler, the radiator, which was that mesh again, but I've painted it with a different one, with a different silver. And this back piece is a totally different mesh that I've found. It's a heavy sort of nylon mesh. The cabling details are just pieces of stretch sprue. The added engine motor details for these electric motors are punched out discs and a couple of pieces of sliced sprue again. And that's basically how I'm sort of adding little details. I mean, on these carburetors, was it this one? There's several little bits of sprue and that added to give them a bit more life. On there I've drilled in a couple of holes which I'm probably going to stick more sprue into to give me sort of like Allen bolts sticking out of them. And there's all my pipe fittings and throttle linkage, and I'll link that together when it comes to fitting them on the carbs. Looks like I'll have to lift that one off and move it over again. That ram there's gone and slid. Come here, you little bugger. That's definitely offline a bit, so I'll cut that back off and move it back over. But that's sort of an everything on detailing these little odds and sods and just making them out of sprue like these bits are. Best wishes from jolly old England. Bye.